here is the second block that we'll be using. Again, we'll just have to wash off that Gampi paper real quick. So I'm gonna have to print this block twice, I believe. So this bottom half will be kind of a darker tan color for the ground. And then from this line going up will be a series of gradations for the sky. So I'm gonna mix my colors. I'm gonna start with the ground. So again, I use my reference or my samples that I made yesterday, so I can compare the colors. You can see this is a little bit more warm and a little bit darker. It's going to be going over this, so it's going to be darker anyways. So I'm kind of happy with this one. So I'm mixing a brown, but I'm not just using like an umber or a brown and mixing it with white. I'm using red, yellow ochre, blues, Payne's gray, and white to make the unique color brown. It's a little bit darker. I'm also thinking about transparency. Similar to Mokahanga, because I am mixing a lot of transparent base with this, and so the transparent layers will build up one on top of the other. Here's an example of some water and some sky, and you can see how I did this transparent gradation over the top of it to get this gradation similar to Mokahanga, but this is oil-based pigment. So I made a nice pile here. I'm gonna roll this out. It's nice and transparent. And I'm gonna test it on a sheet of paper, just a piece of scrap paper, see what the color's looking like. Nice. The color will be going over this on the bottom. It's a lot warmer than what's down here. It's okay. That's what we want. We want to change the temperatures on every layer a little bit. I might just do the bottom section first and then come back and do the sky separate, just because it kind of stresses me out doing both at the same time. So I might just do that to see how that works. So this wood is shina plywood. It's much softer than the cherry. And the first time you ink your block, it's going to take a little bit of time because that wood is soaking in the oil. So you have to go over it a couple times. And I'm really going to be careful on this line to try not to get pigment on the other side of it. I also live in New York City. I'm in the Bronx, and it's quite noisy at times. Today's a Sunday, so it's fairly quiet outside. And there's lots of planes, trains, and automobiles. So you'll hear some sounds of the city during these videos. So I got a little bit over the line, so I'll have to clean that up with a towel. Good way to do that is take a strip of paper towel, twist it. just keep working your way down the rope. The only problem with using paper towels for stuff like this is that there's lint and it gets into your surface of your print. So you always have to check your plate for chunks of lint or wood or any kind of particles. So it happens, and then it'll leave a white dot on the surface of your print, which we don't want. So I'm going to test this on a piece of copy paper first. This is a cover sheet. It's like parchment paper. You can use parchment paper, it works just fine. And this is a ball bearing Baron. It's got little raised ball bearings, and it just rolls over the surface, pushes the pigment into the fibers of the paper. So we'll see what our color looks like, and there we have it. You can see the shina creates this nice wood grain. And if I hold this up to my print, I can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. It's going to darken it up. It's a very thin Kozo paper with some pulp. Registration. You don't have to press very hard. Let's see. It's looking pretty good. So I darkened the pigment a little. This is another test sheet, just to see if I got the values right. It's much darker. But that's kind of where I want it to be. Now that everything's leveled out with my pigment, I can just keep printing the addition one by one. So now I just have to print 14 of these.